It's 1642 to 1651. One king, Charles I, a king soon to come, his son, Charles II, thousands of soldiers encamped on the grounds of Markshall. And it's all happening down here. Roundheads and Cavaliers, you remember those at school? Well, those of you who are in England here probably would remember being taught about Roundheads and Cavaliers and Oliver Cromwell, soldiers that were fighting in the English Civil War were here. There were two sides in that Civil War. One side actually gave Sir Thomas Honeywood his knighthood, and he ended up fighting against them. But what intrigued my interest, in a way, is this lake here, and the big lake which is up there. What intrigued me was how these lakes actually came to be. In the mid-17th century, England was tearing itself apart. It wasn't just a battle for land, but a brutal struggle for power, religion, and the very future of the monarchy. On one side, King Charles I and his royalist supporters, the Cavaliers. On the other, Parliament and its army, the Roundheads, led by figures like Oliver Cromwell. Families were divided, communities were split, and no corner of the country was safe from the conflict. And even here, in seemingly peaceful Essex, Markshall found itself right in the thick of it, thanks to its prominent owners, the Honywood family. The estate had passed down through generations, and by the time the Civil War erupted, it was in the hands of Sir Thomas Honeywood, son of Robert Honywood. Now here's where it gets interesting. Despite the coming conflict, Sir Thomas was actually knighted by King Charles I himself. Imagine that, being honoured by the very monarch you would soon be fighting against. It speaks volumes about the complex loyalties and shifting allegiances of the time. Yet when the chips were down, Sir Thomas declared himself a staunch parliamentarian. Perhaps it was a matter of local interest, strong Protestant convictions, or a belief in Parliament's authority over the King's absolute rule. Whatever his reasons, Sir Thomas Honeywood would go on to play a critically important role in the war effort for Parliament. Markshall's strategic location, not far from the important town of Colchester, made it an ideal spot for parliamentary forces. Imagine it, these peaceful grounds, usually host to country pursuits, suddenly swarming with soldiers, tents, and the general cacophony of a military encampment. It is said that while a significant parliamentary army was encamped at Markshall, they were given a rather unusual task: to keep the soldiers occupied, disciplined, and perhaps most importantly, out of mischief. They were put to work digging. Yes, digging. They were employed in creating or enlarging the very lakes that grace Markshall Estate today. At the time, There were thousands of men here, waiting for one of the biggest and grisliest sieges in the history of the Civil War, which would be in Colchester. This was a base for Oliver Cromwell's mob, headed up here by Sir Thomas Honeywood. Sir Thomas Honeywood's military career really came to the force during one of the most brutal and significant events in the east of England, the Siege of Colchester in 1648. This was during what's often called the Second Civil War, a brief resurgence of royalist efforts after Charles I's initial defeat. Royalist forces under the command of Sir Charles Lucas and Lord Goring seized Colchester, a vital strategic town. What followed was an 11-week siege by the Parliamentarian army, an incredibly harsh ordeal for both sides, but especially for the town's inhabitants, who faced starvation and disease. Sir Thomas Honeywood played a prominent and crucial part in this siege. As a local commander, he would have been instrumental in maintaining the parliamentarian lines, coordinating attacks and enduring the daily grind of a long siege. When the Royalists finally surrendered in August 1648, utterly exhausted and out of supplies, Sir Thomas was given a critical post. He was left in charge of the town with explicit orders to demolish its ancient walls and fortifications, to ensure it could never again be used as a royalist stronghold. Fortunately for us today, and for the historic character of Colchester, Sir Thomas failed to carry out these orders fully. Whether by deliberate defiance, lack of resources, or perhaps a pragmatic understanding of the immense task, much of Colchester's medieval fabric remained intact. A fortunate failure indeed. So Charles I had a son, Charles, who would be Charles II. After all this, he came down from Scotland and he was eventually crowned in England. So what happened to Sir Thomas Honeywood? He'd betrayed Charles II's father. Well, it seemed that forgiveness was offered and accepted, I'm sure, under the new regime. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please do the usual and give it a thumbs up, and I'm likely to see you, because I do need a break, in another video, possibly next week, but who knows, because I may need a little holiday. So stay safe.